Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla TV, here to talk to you today about Vance and Hines exhaust accessories. You should be considering some of the accessories you see up here if you're looking to either make your exhaust installation just a bit simpler, or you're looking to augment the already good looks of your Vance and Hines system. These things are going to fit a wide variety of bikes, some of them Harley specific, some of them very universal in nature. We'll get to that in just a moment. With respect to installation, these really are going to span the gamut. Anywhere from 1 to 2 beers is a good general guide for most of the stuff you're going to see up here. Let's get right into things. Exhaust accessories, unfortunately, are not a super sexy item. Nobody goes looking for accessories and then finds an exhaust to go with them. They are, however, very necessary, and Vance and Hines is very, very good about providing the things you need to make exhaust installs simple and to make sure that your exhaust works for you. So let's start with the coolest stuff on the table, at least in terms of looks, tips. Vance and Hines offers a variety of tips and caps for their pipes. Now, of course, different exhausts are going to require different tip styles, and everything's going to vary just a little bit, but you can see a smattering of some of the stuff they offer up here that's been popular over the years. A set of fishtail tips, classic good looks. These things have been around forever and ever, and that's because they look really cool. Moving down the line, you can see their hot tips here. These things are also super nifty. They're going to leave a finished look to those of you who have just a straight cut pipe on the end of your bike. And you'll notice these things have a couple of set screws in them. It gives you a couple of different mounting options. You can mount them so that the slash actually faces downward or perhaps outward, depending on what it is that you like for your particular motorcycle. Moving sort of farther up the food chain, you can see here the same tip, but these are the billet ones. These things are super heavy, super well crafted. You can see some of the detail, like the fine jeweled cutting here along the edge of the billet tips. And you can also see, too, these set screw holes here allowing you different mounting options. Again, giving you a range of options to mount these in a way that looks cool to you. However, it's not all good looks. There's also some very solid products here that are going to augment an exhaust installation and keep your exhaust working for you for the life of it. Let's look at the first one, header wrap. So people install header wrap for various reasons. Some folks actually want the performance boost that it's offering because they're going to the track and they need every last horsepower. Other folks just want their bike to look cool. They want it to have that racy look. Vance and Hines delivers. Now, exhaust pipe wrap is sort of one of those goods that's a fungible good. Everybody seems to have one and there doesn't seem to be a huge bunch of difference. However, that's not really true. Vance and Hines' kit really does stand out. It's competitively priced with all the other guys, but it comes in 2 different colors, and they also give you plenty of wrap. I know I've gotten some kits in the past where if I made just the tiniest mistake, I didn't have enough pipe wrap to complete my wrap job. They give you plenty of stuff in here. They say it's going to do 2 pipes, and they give you enough to make mistakes and then some. One of the other things I like too is they think about you all the way through the job. They even include plastic zip ties so you can actually get your exhaust wrap held in place while you're installing the final finishing clamps. Speaking of those clamps, I really do like them. They have the Vance and Hines logo emblazoned right in them. It really is a nice touch. Lends a really finished, polished look to your wrapped pipes. Moving on down, you can see here we have exhaust port pipe plugs. These are 18 and 12 millimeter pipe plugs. Those of you who need these know exactly why you need them, and those of you who don't think anything of them until you need them. These are used to fill up the holes, the mounting bungs for oxygen sensors. Not every single Harley out there uses oxygen sensors, especially earlier bikes, and then some of you running aftermarket fuel controllers will actually wind up removing your oxygen sensor to make your fuel controller work. These exhaust port plugs help you get the job done so you're not standing around with your bike ripped apart waiting on a very inexpensive part. Finally, as you can see here on the table, is probably my favorite piece on here. This is an oxygen sensor harness extension piece. This is necessary for a few different reasons. Some exhausts wind up moving your oxygen sensors. They physically relocate them on the pipe. That means the harness that's on your factory oxygen sensor is no longer long enough to reach where it needs to go. This is a simple way to solve that problem. Rather than having to cut your harness or cut your leads and actually manually extend them, thus introducing yet another break point or two, this allows you to simply clip right into your factory harness and clip into your factory oxygen sensor. These can also be helpful too for bikes that are still leaving their stuff in the factory place but just don't have a lot of reach. A lot of the Sportsters and Dynas, sometimes those plugs don't have much extra length. Throw one of these in there and you have a couple extra inches to play with. It makes installing an oxygen sensor or an exhaust a lot more pleasant. The final item we've got off to the side here, I like this, it's bagged up because it's fiberglass and I don't want to get itchy, is Vance and Hines exhaust packing material. This stuff is fiberglass like most other exhaust packing materials, but you can see here it's got the matte woven one side. That makes handling this stuff really easy. You're not going to have tufts of fiberglass floating all over your shop. Instead, this stuff wraps easily as long as you keep this to the outside. A little turn of Scotch tape on your baffle, slide them back in, and packing up your exhaust is really cake. Now, I know a lot of you street riders don't necessarily pack your exhaust all the time, and it seems like that wouldn't be super necessary. Take a lesson from the dirt guys. Those guys are constantly repacking. Repacking a muffler can give you increased performance. It'll restore the performance of your old exhaust, and it'll also bring back some of that sound that you fell in love with when you first did pack your exhaust. So if you do happen to have a Vance and Hines exhaust or another brand exhaust that uses fiberglass packing, a repack really can rejuvenate your exhaust for very, very short coin. Now, with respect to installation, I had mentioned there's sort of a range of stuff up here. 1 to 2 beards on our BSD, or beard scale of difficulty. Most of you should not have too much trouble installing something simple like the exhaust tips. There's just a pair of grub screws on these things. Very easy to get them onto your motorcycle. Some of the other components you're looking at up here, say the header wrap or perhaps the harness extender, these are going to be components involved with a larger exhaust installation. You're going to have your exhaust off your bike. That bumps things up into the 2 beard territory, and if you're doing something really crazy like working with custom exhaust, you may even be into that 3 beard thing where you're doing some cutting and some welding. So I can't give you exactly the installation for your particular product, but note that these things kind of fall in a range. Most of them tend to be pretty Vance and Hines or bolt-in specific, so you shouldn't have too much on your plate when you're using any of these products. If it's not immediately evident, I really like a lot of the stuff that Vance and Hines is making for exhaust. It's nice to know that they're not just selling you a set of pipes, they're actually thinking about you all the way through the job. They know you're going to be in your garage on a Saturday afternoon, possibly throwing a set of their pipes on, and they want to make it as easy as possible and give you as many options as you can to have your exhaust looking, sounding, and performing the way that you want it to. My opinion, however, is not the only one around. Click below, see what some folks who have already run some of these accessories on their bike have to say about them. If you have a question that I didn't get to, get in touch with one of our gear geeks. See us at RevZilla.com. You can always get us on the horn, 877-792-9455. I'm Lemmy. I'm out of here.